A tremendous confidence builder for this ball club.
You betcha.
Tommy, it's important to get off to a fast start. And the Cubs play most of the early season on the road. 17 of their first 25 games away from the friendly confines. This would be a nice win to put in the bag.
0-1 to McRae. First time today he's turned around to bat right-handed. Buechele at second base. Timmons at first. 2 down. 3 runs in here in the 6th. And a 4-0 lead. Two and 1. Well, either way, this is it for McElroy. Because you have right-handed Ray Sanchez and then Sammy Sosa due up. And Xavier Hernandez ready in the Reds bullpen. Three balls and a strike. Buechele has knocked in a run. Here in the inning, he has 2 in the game. 3-1 pitch to Brian McRae. In the air, left center field. Can't get to it. 1 run home. They're going to wave Timmons. Here comes Larkin. Throw to the plate. Out and home. So 1 run scores ahead of Timmons. A 4-run 6 for the Cubs. They got 5 hits and lead 2. A 5-0 lead. Let's take one more look.
Good relay throw by Barry Larkin. Santiago waiting for Timmons to arrive, but a huge inning for the Cubs. At the end of 5.5, the Cubs lead 5-0.
Chicago Cubs baseball on WGN is brought to you by Pepsi. Nothing else is a Pepsi.
Auto Show concept cars. Cars with exciting features like supercharged engines. Finally, someone's built one for you. Introducing the 1995 Riviera with an available supercharged engine that breathes deep for maximum power. It's amazing what a breath of fresh air can do. The all-new Riviera by Buick. What a concept.
Bud. Wines. Bud. Bud. Wines. Bud. Bud. Wines. Bud. Wines. Bud. Bud. Wines. Bud. Wines. Bud. Wines. Bud. Wines.
Making it to the pros takes a certain level of excellence, the experience to get the job done right, and a reputation for quality. Like AC firing spark plugs from CarQuest. AC spark plugs heat fast and fire hot, improving your car's performance. AC gives you the spark you need all season long. So for the best possible performance, install what the pros install. CarQuest. Welcome to the pros.
Their daughter's a hostage, and this father will fight terror with terror to get her back. Brian Dennehy stars in A Father's Revenge.
Tonight at 11:30.
Oh, double. Oh, he'd have made a double easy on him. We'll watch it one more time, and we'll watch Brian McRae driving the ball in the left center field. This has got to be a double. And watch the relay. Here comes Timmons with a 5-run lead. Tony Muser waves him home, but he's out. And the Cubs out of the inning, but not before they tack 4 on the board.
5-0 now for Bullinger. And he delivers a strike to Barry Larkin. Larkin is singled, walked, and stolen 2 bases. Little breathing room now for Bullinger. But he needs to stay sharp because the Cub bullpen has not been good during the exhibition season. On the ground, Buechele Makes a nice play. 360, throws to Grace Larkin, retired. Let's step out for a station ID on the Cubs television network.
This is America's #1 sports station, WGN TV, Chicago.
Back at Cincinnati's Riverfront Stadium, opening day 1995. Tom Brenneman alongside Steve Stone. And it's been all Cubs today. 5-0 over the club that many consider the best team in the National League Central. But Bullinger has only allowed 3 base hits, and they came in the first 3 innings.
His best pitching by far came in the third when he got out of a bases loaded 1-out jam by having Ronnie Gant tap right back to him into a 1-2-3 double play.
1-1 to Hal Morris.
Line is complete on Jose Rijo. 5 1/3 innings, 5 runs, 6 hits, a couple of walks, 4 strikeouts, and he's the man on the hook for the Reds.
The White Sox, meanwhile, getting blasted today at Milwaukee in the 5th inning. It is 8-2 Brewers. Everybody's team to beat, the New York Yankees in the bottom of the 6th at home in front of Texas 7-3. Boston blanking Minnesota 9-0 at Fenway in the 7th. And Baltimore, Kansas City, no score in the 4th. Usina against Kevin Apier in that one. One and 2 to Hal Morris. And it's hit hard but foul. You'd never know. This is Jim Bullinger's first opening day start.
Career batting average leaders. Hal Morris right there at number 5. Wade Boggs, Tony Gwynn, Frank Thomas, Kirby Puckett, and then Hal Morris. And Tommy, this is the first opening day start anywhere for Jim Bullinger. He can never remember starting an opening day at any level.
Again, hook foul. Out in front was Morris. Count will stay at 1 and 2.
I think what you like about this Cub team so far, and of course, quite obviously, it's the first ball game and we're not through this one, but when they've been asked to lay down a bunt today, they've been able to do it. They've executed pretty well. It was a no-nonsense camp run by Jim Riggleman and his staff, and it looked like it's paid early dividends.
And there's strike 3 to Morris. Second strikeout of the game for Bullinger. I want to remind you that you can entertain clients and guests in the finest seats in the finest ballpark. Rent a Cubs mezzanine suite at Wrigley. Suites are available for every home game, and discounts are available on select dates. Each box includes 15 tickets and 2 parking passes. And for larger groups, you can ask about the new Wrigley Field Super Suite for parties of 40 or more. And there you see the number. 312-404 Cubs. In the air to shallow right center field. Sanchez looking for help. It falls between him and McRae. So a bloop single by Ronnie Gant with 2 men out here in the 6th.
It looked for a moment like Jim Bullinger would have a very easy 6th inning. When this one went up, it looked like it was going to be caught easily. Ray Sanchez kind of loses track of this one, calling for some help. But you just can't come in and charge everything on the artificial surface. A fine effort by Sammy Sosa backing up Brian McRae to hold Ronnie Gant to a single. So pretty good coordination on the part of the Cub outfield.
Brett Boone twice is line to right. Hit the ball very hard both times against Bullinger, but one of the few in the Reds batting order today. And now activity begins for the first time in the Cub bullpen.
I would think, Tommy, that if Jim Riggleman could get a good solid 6 out of Jim Bullinger today, that's about what he'd want. And Mike Perez starting to get loose.
2-0 to Boone.
You know, you got to realize that with the compact schedule now at 144 games, off days are few and far between. And you don't want to burn out a guy having as good a performance as Jim Bullinger early in this one. So if he can get the 6, he would be ecstatic.
2 balls and a strike on the Reds' second baseman. 5-0 Cubs. Ron Gant at first. We're in the bottom of the 6th inning. Timmons, after pinch hitting for Bullitt, remains in left field. So Timmons, McRae, and Sosa left, center, and right. Two and two.
Boone didn't like the call. Jim Bullinger certainly did, as he's hit his spots pretty well today, moving the sinker in and out and throwing some pretty good curveballs.
Ronnie Gant takes his lead at first with 2 men out. A 2-2 pitch to Boone, and Bullinger turns it loose. Full count. Santiago waits on deck.
Jim Riggleman also wants a left-hander to get loosened up. And we will check it out and find out who it is.
It's like Larry Cassian. Yep. 3-2 to Boone. And he fouled it away with Gant taking off on the pitch.
That good running fastball by Bullinger is the one that he used on Ronnie Gant to get him to ground into the 1-2-3 double play. It's the same one he just threw to Brett Boone, right in on the hands. Starts over the inside corner and keeps running in, and the hitter can't get his arms out. Pretty effective pitch. Boone was able to fight it off, however.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 1 on, 2 out. And again, the pitch to Brett Boone is hit through the hole into right field. Gant makes a turn. He'll go to third. So the Reds a 2-out rally. A bloop single by Gant. He goes to third on the hit by Boone, and Benito Santiago is due up. Now what's going through his mind right now?
Santiago wondering just exactly how Bullinger is going to work him this time up, and Jim Riggleman wondering if his bullpen is ready to go. He's got a pitcher with a shutout, but that really doesn't affect his decision at this point. Rick Wilkins coming out to kill a little time for that bullpen. I wouldn't be surprised if Jim Riggleman would come out, or perhaps send out Fergie Jenkins. I think he wants to check and see just how far that bullpen is away from getting loose. I think Perez is loose, and now the decision falls to Riggleman just how far he wants to go with Bullinger.
Well, he thought about taking that step. Makes a right turn. Runners on the corners. A 5-0 Cub lead with 2 down in the 6th. Santiago the hitter. Well, he got a break there, did Bullinger. A check swing, foul ball. Santiago is fouled out to Grace and lined to Sosa at the track in right.
It's a big out for Jim Bullinger and the Cubs. You don't want to get this Red offensive machine rolling. And so far, Bullinger has had things well in hand, but he's in another jam.
Gant at third, Boone at first. 2 away. 0-1 to Santiago. And a little check swing roller. Buechele comes charging in. Throws in time, and Bullinger escapes a jam again. 2 hits, 2 left. Harry returns in the 7th. At the end of 6, still the Cubs 5, the Reds 0.
What do you get when you fly the low-fare airline? Fun fares.
Well, you've waited so long for a fare to get so nice and low now. You really should fly.
Light up the night. Southwest Airlines' new fun fares are so low. Want to see that again? Now you can fly just for the fun of it.
Come along with us, 'cause we got a lot of things to do now. You really should fly. And you'll have fun, 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 flying Southwest on a fun fair today. Fun, fun, flying on a fun fair.
In a sport where nerves are made of steel, it's only natural the tools are made by craftsmen. 1,600 Craftsman hand tools made in America, guaranteed forever. The only official tools of IndyCar, NASCAR, NHRA, and the new Super Truck Series by Craftsman, only at Sears.
As sure as the sun will rise across America, the families that travel will have one common need: to be safe. So it's no surprise that America's favorite full-size car has also been honored for safety. That's according to Prevention Magazine, which gave LeSabre the Safe Car Achievement Award in the full-size category. Buick LeSabre, the American family car.
Why'd the Whopper beat the Big Mac and Wendy's single in taste tests? The Whopper from Burger King is flame broiled. It tastes like it's hot off the barbecue. And that makes people happy. Did you ever see sad people sitting around a barbecue? Never.
Come in and ask for the winning Whopper and get it for just 99 cents, only at Burger King.
This is WGN Chicago.
Low third.
Hello again, everybody. Harry Carey with Steve Stone and Tom Brenneman. And boy, I tell you, it takes you a long time to get from booth to booth today.
Well, we're in a different booth today, Harry, but any booth looks the same today as it's all Cubs. Jim Bullinger has been brilliant, and the Cubs leading 5-0. You couldn't ask for a better opening day.
It has been an outstanding ball game for the Cubs, and may it continue to be so.
Well, I think they're going to have to probably go to the bullpen. I would believe that Jim Riggleman got just about as much as he wanted out of Jim Bullinger and probably couldn't have expected anything more, as Bullinger was just brilliant, pitching out of jam after jam and holding the Reds at bay. So now we have Xavier Hernandez on the mound and Thomas Howard in left field.
And leading off for the Cubs, Ray Sanchez. Base hit. Sanchez hit the ball very hard in the fifth. A line drive caught by Gant. Singles to left to start the seventh of Xavier Hernandez.
There you look at the numbers of Hernandez last year. When Hernandez was with Houston, he was a hard-throwing youngster with a lot of potential. He went over to the Yankees, had a real tough year last year. His numbers against the Cubs career-wise very impressive, as he piled up some good numbers while a member of the Astros, but a disappointing American League season in 1994.
Here's Sammy Sosa. One out of two. You know, it's interesting. In the third inning, the Cubs have runners at second and third with their best hitters, Sosa and Grace, coming up. Sosa fanned and Grace popped out. He lost the opportunity at a time when they're already leading 1-0. But then, in the sixth inning, it was the same two guys who opened the gates to a 4-run inning. Sosa led off with a single, and Grace followed with a single. Rick Wilkins singled to fill the bases. Buechele drove in a run. Timmons batting for Bullitt drove in a run. Bullinger batting for himself drove in a run with a sacrifice fly. And Brian McRae drove in a run. Timmons tried to score and was cut down on a relay at the plate. 1 ball, 1 strike. Hernandez, tall, rangy right-hander. Fastball low. 2 balls and the strike.
Cubs would like to add to their lead. Before you think that 5 runs is comfortable, this is a fine offensive team here in Cincinnati. Last year they hit .286 as a team. This year they feel they're every bit as strong and maybe a little stronger. They've got some more speed in Ronnie Gant and a much improved Deion Sanders in center.
Fouls the pitch off. You know, this is a decision. You know, the fans are going to say if they take out Bullinger, what they take him out for? He had a 5-0 lead. But remember, these fellas have only had 10 days of spring training. And it's They don't want to get a pitcher as important to the Cubs' cause as Bullinger crop up with a sore arm for pitching too long in one game. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Great effort by Santiago. Normally that ball goes to the screen. He was able to show you his great mobility, moving to his right and stopping that one that bounded well in front of the plate.
Boy, in the Cubs 6, he made a remarkable one-handed catch of a pitch that seemed destined to be a wild pitch easily. Only Santiago perhaps could have made the play, preventing for a couple of seconds a run from scoring. 3 balls, 2 strikes. Boy, there ought to be the 24-second rule applied. Hernandez had the longest delay between pitches in the stretch position. Finally backed off the rubber. Three balls, 2 strikes. Bouncing foul.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Chicago National League Ball Club, which has a right of approval of the announcers and is intended solely for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or the use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the Chicago National League Ball Club is prohibited.
The Cubs are leading 5-0. A tremendous outing by Jim Bullinger, who started a double play in a situation which may have turned the game around himself in the 3rd inning. With the bases loaded, 1 out, he got Gant to hit the ground ball right back to him. Bullinger threw to the plate for 1 out, and Wilkins fired to Grace for the other out to end the inning.
Arnie Harris points out, Harry, that if the Cubs do hang on to this one, which it looks like they're going to do, they will be on top of the division late in April, something that hasn't happened in a while.
How many games did we didn't win any games in April.
Didn't win many last April, I know that.
He fouled it off. And Sanchez, who had a good jump on Hernandez, look how he's running backwards to first base. Now he's turned around.
In fact, you might have remembered the great firehouse chat of Tom Trebelhorn after losing 12 in a row at Wrigley Field beginning of last year.
What was that?
That was the Cubs unable to win at home for quite some time.
3 balls, 2 strikes. Sammy Sosa. Ground ball. The only play will be the first base, and Sammy almost beat it out, but he's retired. Barry Larkin. However, Sanchez, running him at a 3-2 pitch, is in scoring position now. And here's Grace, who's hit the Reds very well during his career. About .335. 1 out, a man in scoring position. Grace singled in the big 6th inning. The Cubs had 5 hits, 4 runs in that top of the 6th. There's the ball getting away, and Sanchez now at 3rd base.
That's going to be ruled a wild pitch, as Hernandez had tried to throw the ball away a few times. Finally accomplishes that feat. This one well in the dirt. Santiago cannot corral it, and Sanchez on his way to 3rd.
He tries to trace the ball, but it eludes him. All right, a runner at 3rd base, 1 out, infield comes in. Line shot, base hit, and Grace drives in a big run. And the Cubs now lead 6-0. And some of the Cincinnati fans are audibly unhappy about the situation.
I think the fans here in Cincinnati are a little surprised that the Cubs have come out as aggressive as they have today. Mark Grace now with a couple of hits, has driven in his first run of the year.
And here's Rick Wilkins, who contributed a vital base hit in that big six. Whoa, hit by a pitch ball. And Rick can start walking out towards Hernandez. The umpire. Now his teammates come over. If I were Hernandez, I wouldn't want a guy like Wilkins mad at me. He's a former football linebacker, and he loves body contact. But they're cooling him off now.
Well, the Cubs have hit the ball pretty hard, and apparently Xavier Hernandez didn't care for it too much, and he gets Wilkins on the hip. Wilkins heads on to first base.
And so, here's Dunston, 0 for 2. Runners are on. At first and second, run home. 6-0 Cubs. All right, Hernandez now wants to talk to Santiago. Wilkins at first, Grace at second. Sanchez, who started at the inning, has already scored. Strike called. Dunston. Sacrificed in the second, popped up in the fourth, and with the bases loaded in the sixth. Runners first and second. Hernandez gets off the rubber. High pop fly on the infield, easy out. Barry Larkin. And Dunston is an easy out again. 2 away, here's Buechele, with the bases loaded, 1 out after Dunston had fanned in the sixth. Got the big base hit that opened up the gates, that drove in a run. Then Timmons pinch hitting for Bullitt. When McElroy replaced Rijo, walked driving in another. Bullinger himself drove in one. And here's Buechele again. Swung at a breaking ball and he missed.
Buechele drove in the first 2 runs of the ball game against very tough right-hander Jose Rijo, who stands to lose this one. He had a 9-2 career record against the Cubs coming in, so the Cubs didn't have much luck with him. But today is a different day.
Rijo is charged with the first 5 runs. All the runs in the 6th inning were charged to him. One ball, 1 strike. Top of the 7th. Cubs lead 6-0. There you saw the stats on Buechele against Hernandez. Fouled out of play into the stand. We're at a very peculiar angle to do a ball game from, behind first base, down the right field line. And this is when you really appreciate the monitor. You can see pitches that ordinarily you might have difficulty seeing in play. Arnie, I'm the biggest devotee of the monitor that you ever met. He didn't mean to do it. A low throw roller. He might beat it on though. Nice play by Brett Boone to retire the side. But 1 run on 2 hits. No errors and 2 left. We go in the bottom of the 7th. The Cubs lead 6-0.
We're in Oysterville, Washington.
This is my husband, Ray.
Everybody knows Ray and Nada. And everyone knows the story.
He fell off the roof cleaning his drain.
And he fell right on his head.
He was in bad shape when we got on scene.
He could have died really easy.
Aflac just worked out great.
Aflac covers the unexpected costs of getting better so you can get on with life.
I would say he's very hard-headed.
Bud.
Maybe it's the water, or something in the air that gives people here that thing we call common sense. You can see it in their faces, and the things they do, like going to 76 for their gasoline. It's the same quality the winners at NASCAR depend on. And people figure if it can satisfy the demands of racing, think what it can do for their cars. And that makes sense, which around here comes as no surprise. 76, go with the spirit.
It's Sears Days. Through Saturday, get the lowest prices ever on great brand name tires. Select Michelin, Bridgestone, Guardsman Plus, and more. Save from 5 to 30% only at Sears.
Come and save so many ways at Sears Days.
Harry Carey back in Cincinnati at Riverfront Stadium. Perez replaces Bullinger, who pitched outstanding in 6 innings. He gave up 5 hits, no runs.
That's what Mike Perez did last year. He got hurt. His career numbers against Cincinnati, pretty impressive, and he's trying to come back as a setup man for the Cubs out of the bullpen.
You know, Perez a couple of years ago was the bright prospect of the Cardinals organization. Had a tremendous record in the minor leagues and win a job with the Cardinals in the big league. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Now he's struggling to find his old stuff back again. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Reggie Sanders, the right fielder.
There was a time when Mike Perez was the leading save man in the minor leagues in the Cardinal organization. He had a couple of years where I think here he had to combine close to 70 saves, and they thought at that point that he would be a stopper, but coming to the major leagues, he was best served as a setup man.
Perez swung on, popped up, should have been caught. Buechele, Wilkins, Buechele chases him off and makes the play because Buechele had a better angle coming towards the ball, whereas Wilkins had to go from the home plate running away from the ball. 1 out. Here's Willie Green.
Kevin Napier today has a no-hitter through 6 innings as the Royals lead the Orioles 1-0 in the bottom of the 6th.
Well, that'll be of particular interest to the second baseman of the Reds, Brett Boone. whose dad now is the Kansas City manager.
What do you do with a guy just out of the chute with a no-hitter through 6 innings?